We said things about you while you were gone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You'll
no.
have to listen to the blooper reel now.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Get ready to go to Creeptown. Population, your co-workers.
Hello and welcome to the Right Stuff Anime Podcast, bi-weekly podcast where we go over some of the newest news in the anime and manga industry. My name is Thomas Breckenridge. I am the merchandising manager here at Right Stuff, and joining me today is...
Quinn, who is merchandising coordinator.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm also a merchandising coordinator.
Hi, I'm Will, and I'm a social media guy.
It's been a while since we've done this. We've been kind of busy getting ready for a big sale that some of you might already know is coming. We'll touch on that a little bit at the end of the podcast, but let's just go over some stuff that's kind of been in the news lately. We have a lot of news that's kind of been big that we haven't had a chance to touch on. I think one of the biggest ones has to be the announcement that they're actually going to go through and make a live-action Akira movie.
Mm-hmm.
This has been something that Leonardo DiCaprio is trying to try to do. Many times it's been talked about that scripts were ready, everything's fallen through, they couldn't get the funding, but it actually seems like it's going to be a thing this time. The director attached to it is Taika Waititi, who most people might know as the director of Thor Ragnarok, which really blew some life back into that franchise. Those first two Thor movies weren't all that great, and he kind of added a good comedic side to that and really rejuvenated that whole property. What do you guys think about the idea of a live-action Akira movie?
Well, I'm super excited. In anticipation of Thor Ragnarok, I watched What We Do in the Shadows. That's now a TV series on FX, which I also highly suggest. But that movie is just clever, and I mean, it's a comedy, and Akira probably not going to have that many comedic beats, but the way it's done is just very creative. There's a lot of awesome visual stuff that he integrates in there, some clever ideas with editing, and he's a very smart filmmaker, and I'm really excited to see what he does with such a high-level concept as Akira, because there's some big stuff going on there. And I'm anxious to see how he translates that to live action on the big screen.
I know nothing about the masses stuff. Sorry.
Have you ever seen the original Akira?
So long ago, I only remember the clips that I've seen since then.
I think what's cool about potentially for this adaptation is that the first movie it only covered the manga wasn't even done when they were actually animating the movie. So I think now that we have all 8 volumes now of the entire series. Hopefully they'll be able to do more stuff or give a more logical ending. I guess.
Logic in anime? What?
Well, I feel like even then, the story's so big, it would need to be a multi-part series.
Yeah.
And probably play it safe, maybe just to go as far as the original movie did, just to sort of set things up, and then go from there. Because if you just try and cram all of that, you're going to get a rambling 4 to 6 hour mess. And
I mean, Battle Angel Alita, they were able to put a few volumes worth in just 2.5 hours. I think it's plausible.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Battle Angel Alita kind of gave hope to all those who were hoping that somebody could actually make a live-action anime movie good. And, I mean, James Cameron did that property justice, but I think that might be because he was such a big fan of that. I mean, he'd been trying to make that movie for so long. He wasn't even able to direct it, but you could see his hand throughout the whole thing. I guess the biggest question is, Taika Waititi, is he a big fan of Akira? Is he pretty knowledgeable on the subject? I think that has a lot to do with it. He's also mentioned that one of the things people were worried about is whitewashing, which we've seen with issues before. The Dragon Ball movie is a pretty amazing example of that. But he says that won't be an issue with this one. So I just hope he takes it in a different way than the original animated movie. I think sometimes we get too stuck on the idea that we hold a certain thing to a certain level, and the animated movie can only be the animated movie. This thing has to be its own property, be its own thing, go over its own ideas. So I have good hope in it, so we'll see. I'm just glad it's actually finally gonna get made. Another thing that's kind of been going on is they officially, to no one's surprise, announced that My Hero Academia Season 4 is coming out in October. That cash cow is getting another season. Who would have thought it? Has everybody caught up on the most recent seasons on on My Hero Academia?
Mm-hmm. I am.
I'm a little behind.
Yeah,
behind.
I am super far behind. My backlog is amazingly thick.
Right? So many shows to watch.
Welcome to fandom. I mean, I'm looking forward to the more action sequences and all the great storytelling that's going on. I'm hoping there's a little more focus on some of the classmates that Midoriya is with. I think that'd be cool to kind of check them out some more, get it a little more fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know anybody's name, so yeah. It's like there's too many of them.
Yeah, and I always enjoy, like, I still haven't seen much of the show yet, but I'm still always, like, impressed by how the writer is able to constantly come up with these creative characters, like the manga quirk character, and like the Invisible Girl. Like, it's fun to see that he's able to be like creative with his stuff. So
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see just a different take, because I mean, it's a Japanese take on classic American superhero stuff, and to see them still finding creative space to sort of make different ideas, and it isn't just, oh, this one's Superman, this one's Batman, here's Spider-Man over here. To see them come up with their own unique skill sets and things like that, I think that's a really awesome, interesting exploration of that concept.
Yeah, and even if they're like your cliche superpower, it still feels fresh because they use them in unique ways that it's like, oh, didn't think about doing it like that before. I'm pumped about that one.
Yeah, this the season that's coming up is going to be pretty good. It really goes into the big three, which all three of them are pretty interesting characters. Deals with the mafia, the ideas of the mafia in this world, and it's a pretty good story arc. I think people will really be excited about it. So I'm guessing it's probably another 2 core, 11 or 12 episodes each, 2 seasons. So that seems to be kind of the growing rate for the show. So we'll be back to My Hero Academia in October. So.
Like, I started to watch the first few episodes of My Hero and then got sidetracked by other stuff. My roommate just powered through it when I wasn't watching. So I'll just come in every now and then from, like, my bedroom playing video games or something. He'll be, like, watching an episode from, like, season 3, and I'm like, okay, I've got no clue what's going on. But they're still doing training things in a stadium.
Yeah. Well, the stadium fight between Midoriya and Todoroki is still one of my favorites. Like, that is so well animated. They like, brought in a special animator director just for that scene, right?
Cool.
Yeah, he's well known for something else that I don't remember because I don't remember names. I'm like, I totally forgot about the big three that they introduced. I'm like, you got like 5 minutes of screen time at the end. Why would I remember that was the thing? I don't know.
You guys watching Attack on Titan right now?
No, I'm not.
There was a scene that they did in the most recent episode where Levi takes on the Beast Titan, and one animator did all the primary animation for that. It took them 2 months, and it's probably one of the most unbelievable scenes I've ever seen animated in my life. It is absolutely insane.
I do want to go back and watch Attack on Titan, but it's like there was such a gap between first and second season. I was like, I'm just going to wait till it's all done and then binge it.
I don't know. It's a little bit of a bummer for my taste. Like, when we were selling at Mayhem, I would often refer to it as the Japanese answer to The Walking Dead. And you kind of get that vibe of, like, everybody's going to get killed or something.
That would be Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I got a tad bit more enthused about it. Like, it didn't grab me until they ate the mom in the first episode. I was like, whoa, they just bit her, like, right in half on screen. It was no, oh, you're going to go bite her and you cut away to the kid. No, it was, like, just full on. Oh.
Oh, God, now I'm suddenly remembered of a kid that used to play Magic when I was running Magic tournaments at Mayhem. His name was Quinn. He was just this funny, smart, precocious kid. He would talk about how he'd just sit at home and watch 1,000 Ways to Die back when that was a show. And one time he was just like, hey, Chris, I got one question for you. Don't worry. It's not associated to anything. What's your neck size? And I was just like, oh, my God, you're 12. What is going on?
I need to fit the noose so it's snug but not too tight.
Yup.
It's an accessory. It's like, jeez.
He'd try and do our midnight pre-releases, which would go until like 7 or 8 in the morning, and then just sort of like he'd like have like Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies in his backpack, and he'll pound down like 3 or 4 of those, and then at about 3 or 4 o'clock, he'd just be in the back room of the game room, just passed out with his phone sitting in front of him. He was like watching Dragon Ball online or something like that, and just goes to sleep.
What has everyone been watching and reading lately, Quinn?
Well, I binged through all 5 available volumes of Case Study of Vanitas, or Vanitas. I'm not really sure how to say the character's name, so I'm going to say Vanitas. Apologies if I'm wrong. This is the same author who did Pandora Hearts, and it is literally just quite awesome. Every single time I put one book down, I'm like, must read more. This is great. It's got some vampire lore in it, but it's unique to its world, some steampunk mixed in, like undergoings with the church. It's great. And some of the characters are unexpected. And Vanitas is like this enigma, and his personality is the same way. Like, you can't peg down if he's supposed to be crazy, if he's supposed to be really overly serious and only acts crazy to throw people off, or if he's just that serious. It's like, what the heck? And then the main character, well, they're both main characters, but Noe is the other one, and he is a vampire, and if he drinks someone's blood, he can see their past. So that's really interesting dynamics going on. They introduced a church member named Roland who was completely against vampires, but he met them, so now he's cool with it. It's like, what the heck? So the art is gorgeous, the airships are gorgeous. It's every single time. I want more. There's only 5 volumes, I need more. So yeah, go read it.
Vampires and airships, that's an interesting combo.
Yeah, and steampunk, it's great. And then
crazy.
the vampires themselves, if their true names are stolen, they like go ballistically crazy, insane, and just want to kill everyone because the draw for blood is really important. But in this world, it's like wanting to smoke a cigarette or something. You can say, no, I don't need one. And so they don't need to drink blood to survive. So that's a little bit different of a take too.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really good.
Interesting.
Really good. And the artwork is so pretty.
Cool.
Cool. Anything else you've been reading or watching?
You do? I could go on for hours.
Well, when I heard the Sound Euphonia movie was coming out, I decided I would finally sit down and watch the show. So I've gotten through the first season, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit. I used to be in concert band back in high school and college, so seeing like an anime about that was like super interesting to see, because the anime characters go way hardcore than my concert band ever did.
Oh. Is it more about the band itself and not so much the girls? Because it looks like one of the girl group shows. I've never seen, so I don't know.
Yeah. It focuses on like the main character Kumiko, who plays the euphonium, but like there's a whole like cast of characters that they also focus on to try and make it more of an ensemble show. But but it mostly focuses on Kumiko.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's by Kyoto Animation, so you know it's going to look pretty and sound pretty. So that's about par for the course. Yeah, I'm excited to see the second season. It's been really well directed so far, and the art, of course, is gorgeous. So hopefully I can finish it in time for the movie.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I know that Pony Can had been releasing a lot of the Blu-rays, but some of them are out of print now, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
But luckily it's still available streaming. But I'm one of those physical files that always live in the fear that everything I like will disappear one day.
Ditto.
That's why I buy everything I love.
With all the iTunes stuff going on right now, there's a bit of panic going on. You're like, oh god, we got 15 years of music sitting online, and it better not go away.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Well, Chris, what have you been watching, reading?
So right now, I've been watching Darling in the Franxx, mainly because I really loved a lot of Studio Trigger's other stuff. I loved Kill la Kill. I really enjoyed Gridman. And so I've been giving this show a try, and it is out there. They are really going for some interesting things, to put it nicely. And like the instant, like episode 2 or 3, when they're like trying to pilot one of the Franxx, and the girl pilot just gets down on all fours and control grips pop out of her hips. I was just like, oh god, this is going to be one of those shows, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very suggestive.
Yeah, it's some symbolism that I don't know if I agree with, and it's been real strange so far. I'm only about halfway through, and I mean, there's part of it that I really enjoy, some interesting storytelling and stuff like that, and part of them just like, oh, all right.
My advice to you is to quit now.
It is not that bad. We disagree on this.
Yes,
I don't think it's near as bad.
Studio Trigger did the animation for this. It was written by a different studio. I did not like some of the content in it. I felt that it was very much going with the idea of man and a woman should be together, and the only way things work correctly is if it is a man and a woman, and it has some underlying anti-gay sentiment that I really did not care for at all.
Then yeah, I may not like the end of this show. Then that's
yeah,
not cool.
and then the ending of the show is just one.
Now you really have a beef with that one character though. It's just the one girl that you had the big beef about. The one that just like is alone and sacrifices herself. I forgot her name.
It's been, I've
Spoilers.
tried to clear that out of my head because
there's lots of girls. They all died now. I'm kidding.
Well, great. I guess I don't need to watch the rest then.
I'm misdirecting.
I know.
Misdirect. But yeah.
Well, it's one of those things that when you you get stuck in a place where there's a big accident, and you accidentally catch part of what happens during the accident, and you want to see how the accident ends. That's basically what this show was for me. So I watched it all the way through, and yeah, it was. I mean, it sells really well. People love Zero too. I see how the figures have been selling here. So I'm glad that people like it. I am like what you like. I'm all about that. It just wasn't my thing, and there were just things about it that really kind of bothered me.
Well, that's foreboding.
Now you will go home and finish it.
Right? And be like, okay, this is a waste of my time. Go check it out.
Or you'll love it.
Exactly.
Either or.
Yeah.
Either or.
Okay. Problematic. Duly noted.
Well, what I've been watching is mostly just what's kind of been going on this season. I'm constantly caught up on Attack on Titan, which I think probably is the best show this season, hands down. Like, I've been going back and reading the chapters that it's adapting right now, and watching them be animated and the quality that they're being animated just is a whole different feeling than when I read it. Like, when I read it, there's a couple big moments that happen this season with certain characters and events that take place with the Titans and stuff like that. That kind of they're okay on paper, but when you see them being animated and brought to life, it is insane. There's a scene where Levi confronts the Beast Titan in this season. It's absolutely incredible, the way they animate it and how it looks. I was completely blown away, and I think I replayed that scene like 3 or 4 times because it was so good. That show just knows how to build great tension, and it knows how to give people what they want, which is a spectacle. It is like a big, giant, goofy Hollywood summer blockbuster. And it does it right. Like, there's other anime that try to do this and don't do it very well. Attack on Titan does a great job. And last week, they finally got to the basement. Took them 56 episodes. But they got to the basement, and now we are going to start learning some of the history of how everything got to where it is today. So that show still great. Demon Slayer still really good.
Yeah.
Gets better every episode almost. That and the manga too. It's good. Like I said, I think we're slowly reaching the conclusion in the manga as well. So it's going to be a shonen series that doesn't overstay its welcome, which is always great because it is hard to invest in a series like One Piece when it's 90 some volumes and 1,000 some episodes, which is
888 episodes.
Well, it's like my roommate has recently decided to start watching Bleach again, and like he got to episode 16 or so, and there were plot lines that's like when I first tried watching it way back 15 years ago, it was like, man, this is really late in the run, and now it's like, oh, he's like 10% done.
Yeah, well, with like Demon Slayer, I was just finally happy. We've been seeing the guy in the orange kimono this whole time, and I'm like, finally, they're going to introduce him further.
Have you read it, the manga?
I have not, but I'm looking forward to. I'm just watching the anime right now.
He, I have to think of his name because it's been a long time since I watched Inuyasha, but he reminds me a lot of Moroku.
Yeah, I got that. I got that in the opening.
And another cool aspect is his ability to fight. Like everybody has like something like the main character's got water. He uses lightning, but the way that he is able to access his power is very comical. And
Nice,
I don't know if they
look
get to
forward
it
to that.
next episode, or it'll probably be 2 episodes from
Yeah.
now. And then they'll also be introducing the, like, I would say, like, the third kind of main character.
The guy with the board
kind,
head?
yeah, creates the ensemble of them.
How many episodes do we have now? 12, 13? And I'm like, they've been in the opening the whole time.
Yeah.
Come on. Don't put
He'll
them
probably
in
show up in
the opening.
like
I don't know who they are.
episode 13 and be like, there he is, and then new
Finally,
opening.
new opening.
I had to wait until episode 12 for Nanachi to show up in Made in Abyss.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, who is that rabbit girl? Where does she come from?
Wait until like the very last episode to find out.
I know, right?
All right, so that's kind of what we've all been watching. Now we're going to play a little game, something a little bit different. We're calling it Massacre Dub Theater. This is where we pick a famous dub scene from an anime and act it out in the podcast. In some cases, we will change the names so it's not a complete giveaway. Sometimes the roles we play may not be the same gender that we are, just to kind of throw people off. And basically, we'll have you guys write into us at rspodcast@rightstuff.com. That's rspodcast@rightstuff.com. And give us a guess at what anime we are slaughtering with our dub interpretation. So this is the first one ever. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let us know if it's something you like, you don't like, and you can continue doing it every week. Write in the answer. You'll be entered in a chance to win a free Right Stuff t-shirt, so you can show everybody how cool you are with the Right Stuff t-shirt. And $25 gift card. So t-shirt, $25 gift card for guessing what dub we are massacring. So
And you'll have reason to say that you listened the whole way through.
yeah. Yeah.
It's the least we can do for torturing you like this.
Yeah.
So Will and I will be the ones acting out the scene. It's a 2-part scene, and if somebody wants to give us an action, we will begin.
And action!
Where are you going? Why are you going? You told me once to forget the past, because it doesn't matter. But you're the one that's still tied to the past, Sammy.
Sorry. Okay. Look at my eyes, Felicia. One of them is a fake because I lost in an accident. Since then, I've been seeing the past in one eye and the present in the other. So I thought I could only see patches of reality, never the whole picture.
Don't tell me things like that. You never told me anything about yourself. So don't tell me now.
I felt like I was watching a dream I would never wake up from. Before I knew it, the dream was all over.
And scene. Okay, so I don't know how that character turned into Batman.
Yeah,
But
I feel
that
like
character turned into Batman.
I feel like I need to confess that 25 years ago I stole $5 from my cousin so I could buy a video game magazine to you. So I'm sorry. Please don't take me to jail.
So that was truly a massacre.
Wow.
So if you guys know what anime dub we just massacred, please write in your answer to Right Stuff Podcast at or RS Podcast. Yeah, no wonder I'm mixing it up. RS Podcast at rightstuff.com. That's RS Podcast at rightstuff.com. And you'll be entered in a chance to win a free t-shirt of your size and a $25 gift card.
To be fair, I feel quite honored that my whatever I was saying sounded like Batman.
Yeah.
Well, everybody has that Griffith voice if they need it.
Where is she?
Where to me?
So this week we decided to kind of do something a little different as well. And with streaming the way it is, especially Netflix, the community for anime fans keeps growing and growing. People are finding anime on Netflix. Sometimes they're not even knowing exactly what it is. They're being introduced to, Naruto, Bleach, stuff like that. Things that they didn't ever know before, and now they're kind of into it. So I've been seeing a lot on the message boards and stuff like that. Like, hey, I'm just getting into anime. We go to a lot of conventions too, and we get asked, just getting into anime. What kind of series do you recommend? Manga, anime, stuff like that. Anime movies, it's always easy to recommend the Miyazaki's because those are easy, but there's a lot of other good ones. So this week on the podcast, I had everybody come with a couple ideas of, if you're just getting into anime or you have a friend that just said, hey, I just saw this on Netflix, what should I watch next? We got some recommendations for you. So, Quinn, do you want to start us off with one of your recommendations?
Sure. Just one? I got more.
We can each do one, and we can kind of go around for a little bit.
Okay. So the one that I would recommend, just because it's one of my favorites and I think it has appeal to a lot of people, it's a little older, but the first 3 seasons of Slayers, so Slayers Next, and Slayers Try, those would be my recommendations, because you've got your high fantasy, you've got comedy, you've got some drama, you've got the monsters that come out and try and attack them, you've got Lena Inverse who likes to blow things up. It's great. And I just love the character dynamics. The sub and dub are both wonderful, and they're well done. Anybody would love them. And then, like, Crispin Freeman played Zelgadis, and he is still attached to that character. And when they did the 4th season redo, well, not redo, but like they made a whole new 4th season in about 10 years later, he insisted on coming back to do Zelgadis again. And it's just near and dear to my heart. I love that thing, and I would highly recommend it, especially to people who love the fantasy realm, the high magic, wizards, sorceresses, that kind of thing. It's great. The comedic elements are great. And Zelos saying, "It's a secret," all the time is great. Gets annoying, but it's great. So that would be my first recommendation to anybody who's new to anime.
All right, Will, what do you got for a recommendation for us?
Ooh, well, as always, the first thing I would next ask the person is, what are you into? Because, I mean, you could always recommend them action shows like Attack on Titan or stuff, but, like, if you're into more, like, slice of life or dramas, like, I would probably recommend Barakamon. It's not as nearly, like, emotional or, like, high concept as, like, Haibani Renmai, which would also be another one. But it's like it's not going to necessarily make you cry like like Renmai would. It's much more chill. You get a nice look into Japanese culture with calligraphy without being overblown. All the characters are absolutely charming, and it's one of those shows that'll make you warm inside no matter what. Mm-hmm. And if you're ever interested in how on earth you're supposed to write children, you should watch Barakamon, because there's the kids in that show, and by God, they're some of the best children characters I've ever seen.
And they're very realistic.
Very realistic. With
yes.
Never annoying unless they're doing it on purpose.
Yes. They're children that you love, but I'm happy to pass back off to their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you got for a recommendation?
All right, well, first one, I kind of wanted to take the swerve because I feel like everybody always, like, what you should watch, everybody's like, you should watch Cowboy Bebop. And I wanted to go with something that was sort of similar in that vein, but a little bit different. And so I went with Trigun. Trigun is one of the first shows that my friends and I powered through when I got into anime in the early 2000s. And it's just because it's a cool genre mashup, because it presents itself when you first settle in as almost like an old school Western, because it's desert area, gunslingers wandering around, but then you hear stuff about like the $6 billion double dollar bounty, and you see this guy that's like 20 feet tall that's getting ready to take on Vash, and then you see the giant power plants scattered across the planet, and you realize, oh, something strange is going on here. And it does some really interesting stuff with the concept, and I also like how the mood shifts throughout the show. Because when it starts out, it's a very broad comedy. It's a lot of fun. I still say one of my favorite anime episodes of all time is the one where Vash accidentally wanders into the standoff.
Oh, that's great.
Because it's just tension, but in the most ridiculous way, and it ends in the silliest way possible. But then halfway through the show, things take a very serious turn, and it gets gritty and dark and really interesting. but not in a way to make you think, like, this isn't what was advertised. I'm upset with what's going on here. It's a great payoff and just a solid show from start to finish, and it shows you what interesting things you can do with different concepts.
And don't forget about his addiction to donuts.
Oh yeah, all the donuts.
Wolfwood is probably one of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah.
He's such a good character. As much as people love Vash, I was always a Wolfwood fan. Yeah, and I mean, it's been around forever, but spoiler warning, his death scene in that is ridiculously emotional. I was devastated the first time I saw it. So.
I was wondering what the heck just happened, so
Yeah.
it lost its impact on me.
You got shell-shocked a little.
Yeah, I was like,
Well,
wait, who, what?
For a show that's so much comedy, and you finally have something devastating like that that's so permanent, it's pretty hard. And his other series is actually one of my top 10 series of all time, which is Blood Blockade Battlefront. That is such an amazing series. He literally, as much as you think he gets to go all out in Trigun, he goes all out in Blood Blockade Battlefront. And the soundtrack for that show was outstanding. Dark Horse, please start reprinting those volumes. They're very hard to get.
Yes.
It's such a great series. I recommend it to everyone. So my recommendation is, so most people who get into anime are usually fans of some sort of animation. Usually the biggest one that I saw people kind of transfer into anime was through Avatar: The Last Airbender. That was a really popular show, still popular. People are still discovering it today, and it kind of leads them into anime. So the series I recommend is Moribito. This series is gigantically epic. It just... Every episode, you're introduced to new characters, new parts of the world, and you just really get connected with the characters in it. The idea behind it is a drought is coming, and they believe that it's caused by a water demon, so they're waiting for the water demon to show itself so they can kill it and prevent the drought from happening. Well, what ends up happening is the king and queen of the kingdom, the prince that is born to them, the water demon goes inside of him. So basically they're left with the dilemma, do we kill our own child to prevent a drought that would kill thousands, or do we save him? Well, the father decides that the best course of action is to kill his own son. Mother, not so much. The queen doesn't agree with that. She finds a mercenary named Balsa, and she basically entrusts her to protect the prince, and they go off on this giant epic adventure together. And it constantly deals with the ideas that there is a demon growing inside this kid, and he's nothing wrong with him. He's a good kid, but like everybody wants to kill him so they can prevent this drought from happening. And the story grows from there. Balsa and the prince become very close. It just reminds me of the sprawling epic that was Avatar. And I think it is a great recommendation. I'm not sure if it's still streaming. I hope it is. I know Viz had been releasing it on Blu-ray, so I really recommend you pick it up.
Yeah,
so.
I think we still have some collection, shape or form on the site too. Yeah. And it has some overtones of Sword of the Stranger to me too, just by the dynamics.
Yeah, and not to mention the animation is outstanding.
Yes.
It is very lush, very nice. So, Moribito. Quinn, what is your next one?
So I like to recommend this one because I want to show people that just because you think you don't have an interest in something that the anime touches upon doesn't mean that you're not going to enjoy the show. So I would recommend Haikyuu, which is the volleyball show. And I know for a lot of fandom, we're all a bunch of indoor people. We don't do sports. we don't care, right? But okay, some of us don't. Whatever, guys.
The one person in the room.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not.
Yeah, Michigan State and Iowa State both repping on the wardrobe of the hosts here in this room.
Remember when I said I don't do masses stuff? This is
Sports
another part
ball.
of it. Yeah, sports
Totally
ball.
all right.
Woo! Anyway, sidetrack. So, if you're like me and not these people, you may like Haikyuu. And the reason that I like this so much is because you get drawn into caring about whether they win or lose their matches because you care about the characters. I think a lot of sports shows have a tendency to put the sport in front of the character development, And Haikyuu does it the exact opposite, where it's all about the team, it's all about the guys, and they really focus on building their own skills. Nobody is overpowered with some, super skill that they've developed. Like Kageyama is about probably the best example of that, but it's still realistically done. He's just really good at what he does for being a setter. And it's just, I enjoy it so much because you get pulled into those matches and you just plow through those episodes because it's just, oh my gosh, I got to find out what happens next. And the teams that they go up against, some of them they become really good friends with, others they are the ideal antagonists. So it really has a huge dynamic and it's got a huge cast of characters, so you're going to like somebody somewhere. And Nishinoya's Rolling Thunder is awesome. So I would highly recommend Haikyuu.
Cool. Will, what's your next one?
Let's see. Well, if you're looking for something a little bleaker but still good, I would recommend Girls' Last Tour as well. It's about these two young women who somehow survive an apocalyptic event, and so they get into this small tank motorcycle, and basically they just drive around a city that's been ravaged by whatever. But we get to learn more about the world through it, and probably how the apocalypse was caused, which is really good world building on the series part. What really draws me in is the excellent direction, the way that they're able to frame shots and just pace out this more episodic series is very well done, and they're always touching on some philosophical topic. Whether it's about religion or the self or putting one's life ahead of others, and it's all featuring mostly just these two girls just talking to each other the whole time, and it's very good, and I would definitely recommend anybody to watch it.
Cool. So it's Girls' Last Tour. Chris, what's your next one?
All right, I'm gonna change a little bit up from my previous statement or from my previous show and go with something a little easier, and one of my favorite ones of all time, Azumanga Daioh. It's a quintessential slice of life series where it's just about 5 girls in high school just getting by, and it's just day-to-day life, struggles with homework, strange things that happen on their way home. There's one girl that's obsessed with petting a cat that just demands to bite it every time it sees her, and just it's interesting because it's one of those things where if you've never watched it, and you probably, somebody that has not watched a lot of anime, probably just thinks of the stereotypes that they hear from other people that don't really know. It's oh, it's violent, oh, it's overtly sexual, oh, it's just guys screaming the whole time. And this is the antithesis to that. It's just girls going through high school festivals and getting ready for tests and enjoying time off by going to visit a temple or something like that. And it's just so warm and fun and weird at some points. Chio's dad's one of my favorite characters of all time. And I've never seen anybody who's watched that show and did not like it. The most hardened guys, the most angry, dark people are just oh, those girls are so adorable and fun. It's something that will always put a smile on my face whenever I watch it.
On that note, I'll also mention K-On!, which is about girls trying to form a band in high school. They never play a single note or instrument, it seems but it's a lot of fun.
All right, so my next one, kind of talking on Netflix, one of the ones I kind of stumbled on there that a lot of people have seen is Rely in April, which was a really, really good series that included music. So I went with in anticipation to finally watch Curl on Tuesday when it comes to Netflix. I went with his previous show about music, Kids on the Slope, Shinichiro Watanabe's series about a young guy named Karu who comes to a new school. He moves around quite a bit, so he never tries to make any connections until he meets Sentaru, who is a guy that is kind of your usual, gets in trouble, gets kicked out of school a lot, anarchist-style guy who is really into jazz. And Karu is into classical, especially piano. And these two form an unlikely friendship and kind of meld both of their talents together to make some absolutely incredible music.
Mm-hmm.
The scenes in this series where they get together and they start playing are just outstanding. Their friendship is really, really good too, the way it forms. You know, it has the typical idea of, oh, there's a girl that comes between them kind of thing. So your usual high school drama is in there, but their friendship and how they become so connected through music is just really, really great. The last episode of the series, the two main characters kind of drift off a little and then eventually meet up. And the way that they come back together is not through an embrace, it's not through words, it's through music. And I just thought that was one of the best endings to a series I've ever seen. Shinichiro Watanabe, I mean, guy who did Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, great series, but like, give me stuff where he just has music at the forefront. And his characters come through there. I'm super excited for Carol and Tuesday. Like I said, if you like music and you are looking for something related to anime with that, try Kids on the Slope.
Mm-hmm. It has the feels.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. Does anybody have any other shows they want to quickly just throw out? I know we were trying to kind of go with different stuff, but the typical My Hero Academia, is in there just for, we have so many Marvel and DC fans with all the movies. What better way to introduce somebody who loves superheroes than My Hero Academia?
Yep.
One Punch Man, another one where superheroes, but more in a satire, funny kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got, guys?
Oh, so many choices.
You can never go wrong with Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, that'd
Yeah,
be
that's
true.
a
Yeah,
classic.
Either the original or Brotherhood. Probably Brotherhood just because it's the most like complete
Yeah.
adaptation.
And I always like to throw in just like one really screwy random one, but my friend group knows me too, so they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you would like this." So take caution with this one, but I'd throw out Tsuritama. The whole show involves aliens, fishing, and trying to save the world. It's
And a
really
duck.
good. And a duck.
Yeah.
named Tapioca.
Yes.
Nice.
That was a
Yeah,
good series.
it's really good.
Yep. And one I'll say, like the Darling and the Franxx thing may have been a clue. I'm a big mecha fan, and so I'm a huge Gundam guy. And one thing I'll say is like the Universal Century is big and daunting, so don't charge right into that. I say take the side door like I did. Start with Gundam Wing. It takes a lot of the tropes of the Gundam series, but puts them in one nice little space all by themselves. And it's pretty much how I became a fan. I grew up in the era of Toonami on Cartoon Network during the day, and just a lot of those series got me hooked. But I remember like a spring break where I didn't have anything going on, hanging out at a friend's dorm, watching Gundam Wing all afternoon, just being like, this is the coolest show. And so it's just always been one of my favorites, and I feel like if you want to try and get into Gundam, that's a great first step.
Gundam Wing. Yeah. No, I like it. I was just about to make a joke about, to be completely transparent, we work at Right Stuff, which also releases all Sunrise.
We happen to just sell a beautiful box set of that series.
Yeah. And there are not very many left, so
Have you heard this hidden gem called Mobile Fighter G Gundam?
Yeah.
Oh, this hand of mine burns with an awesome power.
So yeah, if you needed some ideas for friends, or if you yourself are just getting into anime, those are some great ideas. I know we offer a lot of them on the site to pick up, and a lot of them are streaming, so please kind of check some of those out. So we're just going to end the show with kind of some stuff that's going on. We've got Anime Expo coming up in a couple of weeks. We don't have a booth there, unfortunately. We live here in Iowa. You know, LA is pretty far away to pack up and bring everything there.
Yeah.
Jake and I will be there walking around the floor quite a bit. So
Yeah.
if you see two guys in Right Stuff shirts, stop us and say hi. We always love to talk to fans. We'll also be having a panel. It'll be Saturday at 10 a.m. Jake and I will be there. We've got some pretty awesome announcements. There's one that I am unbelievably excited for, and I can't wait to announce to all of you. So please make sure you come and check us out at our panel as well. We are also getting ready to gear up for our 32nd birthday.
Woo!
So We're going to have lots of items every week for you guys to check out at great prices. So make sure you're checking every week in July to see what new stuff we are adding. All the stuff we're adding every week does go up after the first week. So if you see something that first week, that second week that is just coming out, make sure you pick it up right away before the price increases on that.
Yeah, get some tissues out. Your wallets are going to cry.
Yeah. I know I stopped by the warehouse today, and we are starting to ship out the Sailor Moon Stars LE set that comes with a GWP coin as well. It is insane to me that show has never been released here in America, and it only took 20
a long
30?
time.
Yeah, it took a long time for it to finally come out over here, but I know just based on how many we're shipping out, I can tell that people have been clamoring for this for a very, very long time. New sales that we'll have going on, our Father's Day sale will be happening this weekend as well. And just to kind of preface, it is going to be coming out June 14th, that sale is going to start. And then for those of you who are checking out our podcast, we'll let you know on the 16th, our weekly special is going to feature Discotech. They are kind of suffering from some setbacks and moving warehouses right now. But don't worry, we can still offer you great prices on their items, and when we get those in, we will ship them right out to you.
Right.
So please don't worry that it is out of stock right now. Discotech titles are out of stock everywhere right now, and trust me, they're trying to get it fixed as fast as possible because they want to get those titles into your hands. I know they had a couple delays with Sonic X and the 12 Kingdoms. 12 Kingdoms I am super excited for.
Oh, yeah.
I need a new replacement for my Game of Thrones. So I need some new big sprawling epic, and I think that's going to probably be it. I think it's about time to revisit that title.
It's so good, even though it isn't.
So, but yeah, those will be the sales going on. And then after Expo, we do have Anime Iowa happening as well here in Des Moines, Iowa. We will have a booth there. We will have panels there. We will have our industry panel. We will have a trivia panel that I will be hosting. I use Kahoot. So if you come and join us for that here in Des Moines, Iowa, all you need is a cell phone. You can play along, win gift cards, win titles, prizes, a whole bunch of stuff, and just have a lot of fun. My trivia is a mixture of things, from guessing the openings and closings to anime themes to just regular trivia. Maybe there's a little bit of Right Stuff trivia in there too as well. So come join us for that. Come see us at Anime Iowa at our booth or at our panels. We love to see the fans. Well, I think that's it for this week. We'll be joining you guys here in another 2 weeks. We'll be getting some stuff packed up for Anime Expo and really start sweating because the birthday sale is going to start.
Yep. Last minute put together. Throw it together, make it go.
We're putting in some hard work for all you folks out there, so get excited.
Yep, and start saving that money because I already am saving mine.
Yeah.
So that's it from us here at the Right Stuff Anime Podcast. I hope you guys have a great day.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Right Stuff Anime. We'd love to hear from you. Send us your questions or comments to rspodcast@rightstuff.com, and we might just answer them in a future episode. That's rspodcast@rightstuff.com.